Hello, friends. My name is Aslam Sheikh, your host for this evening. I'm a founder and CEO of Aleph, a platform to promote the global perspective of education and career. This is our 49th webinar series and broadcasted live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Every Friday, we aim to bring in the valuable speakers to discuss the topic that is important to you and for your career. Those who are joining us first time, let me quickly introduce you who we are and what we do. And here is the screen in front of you. Our company name is Aleph. It's the first alphabet in Arabic and Urdu language that signifies the beginning. And that's the reason why we thought that it's a cool name to keep it 10, 12 years ago. And that's how we started our journey in the year 2008. We have counseled over 23,000 students so far. We maintain a very healthy 100% admission ratio to the university we represent. We maintain a 95% visa ratio and represent 14 plus countries and 208 plus universities in these countries. Our agencies affiliated with ISEF, WEBA, British Council, these are some of the international as well as the Indian and local bodies. Our company was named as the 10th most recommended overseas education consultants last year by the Insight Success magazine. What we promise to our student is 100% guaranteed admission to the universities based on our expertise into the eligibility criteria laid down by these universities. These are some of the universities across the world where our students are either pursuing their bachelor's, PG, or a master's program. We also help our students for the scholarship. And up till now, 2019, we had the data of around 23 crore Indian rupees worth scholarship has been awarded to Aleph students across the different courses and different countries for these many scholarship opportunities. Those who are asking how we start the first step with Aleph. We help you to identify the right course option because that's most of the time the student's dilemma. So we offer the career counseling. We use some modern technology and we help you to identify your own strengths and weaknesses and your inner interest. We also help you to get yourself coach for IELTS exam, which is almost compulsory for most of the universities. We also won a Silver Partner Award from the British Council. And we talk about the study abroad. So right from study is student profiling, whereby we identify the right course, college, and country, applying to the universities, helping you for writing a right essay or SOP, helping you with the education loan if you have a requirement, visa documentation, free transfer, air ticket, foreign exchange, pre-departure, and identifying the right accommodation based on your budget. That's the range of the services which we offer under study abroad services. These are the countries where our students can find the universities through us in different continents of Europe, North America, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. We are very active on social media, so do join us on Facebook, Insta, or YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, whereby you will get tons of insights and material on study abroad and different programs. Do participate once the lockdown is over, hopefully in Maharashtra soon. So do participate in our offline events as well. We organize across the different platform. We also visit our students abroad. So it's not just we guide you through Google search. We help our students to get to know the feedbacks. We visit them. We get to know how the study is going. And these are some of the pictures of our counselors visiting, including me, to some of our students. And talking about me, I have counseled personally 1,000 plus students, traveled to 14 plus countries. I'm a certified consultant for study abroad by ISEF, WEBA, British Council. I'm also the executive member of Bombay Industry Association. I'm the ex-president of BNI Plus chapter and also the member of Swiss, German, US Chamber of Commerce. I was also selected among the top 10 best consulting leaders last year by the Knowledge Review magazine. So that's about me and our organization. And let's quickly jump on to our today's topic. And today's topic is exploring France for postgraduate program. And to discuss this exciting subject, we have with us an expert speakers, and let me do the honor of introducing them. Let's have our first speaker in the room. Hello, Mr. Nicholas.
Hello, very nice to see you all and very nice for the invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us. And let me quickly read out the bio of Mr. Nicholas. So, talking about Mr. Nicholas, before joining the Skema, he worked for 20 years for the leading consulting firms as an independent consultant and in a corporate strategy for fast-growing technology companies. Nicholas created his company after graduation from Dauphine University, if I pronounce correctly, and co-founded the Cambridge University Technology and Enterprise Club. He's a French and Australian and was born and raised in Africa. So, truly a global personality. Mr. Nicholas is currently the director of the MSc program of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Thank you, Nicholas, and I'll join you soon.
Thank you, Alif.
Okay, let's move to our next speaker, Dharini Malhotra. Hi, Dharini.
Hello. Hi, Aslam.
Hello, thank you, Dharni, for joining us. And let me quickly introduce to our audience. Dharni is a country manager for Skema in India. And of course, as a country manager, her responsibility is to help the students and consultants to guide to the right program and take through the entire process of reaching down to the final destination. Thank you, Dharni, for joining us. And I'll come back to you. Yep. Okay, friends. So if you have any question whilst we proceed further, you can write into your comment box. We just have 20-25 minutes, or otherwise you can always come back to us on our helpline number. So let's begin our today's session, and let me have Nicholas in the room, and let's begin with our introduction of this particular program. So before, as the program suggests that we are going to explore France for postgraduate program. So Nicholas, we would like to understand from you, what is the significance of students choosing France? Because there are so many options for Indian students to choose from, and definitely France becomes one of the very important destination. But from France, according to you, why should one look at France for higher education, Nicholas?
Yeah, absolutely, no problem. So I guess there's a couple of points, maybe 4 points on why it makes some sense to choose France. I mean, first and foremost, it's definitely one of the leading countries in the world in terms of GDP, which means that you are in a country which is creating kind of wealth and creating value, business value for society. It's one of the top choices destination for international students in the world, which means that students find some appealing aspects in France, such as probably the safety, such as the culture and I'd say the openness to welcome foreign students. And the last but not least, France is becoming one of the hottest destinations in Europe for entrepreneurship and innovation. And it has been recently evidenced by many metrics over the recent years.
Wow. Thank you very much for your short and crisp answer. And friends, I'm sure that you are getting excited to know more about France with Nicolas' explanation about why should you look at France as a destination for higher education. And just to add a few more points, which I have got, which is very interesting from Indian context, is that France is the first country who signed a mutual recognition agreement with India from Europe. And that gives you a boost of confidence that France recognizes our existence. And also, do you know that a French degree could give you access to 570 plus French companies who are operating currently in India? So that also gives you a good big career opportunities when you talk from the Indian point of view. So thank you, Nicholas, for this piece of advice. And let's move to Dharini and let's have her in the room. Dharini, thank you for joining us. And
Hi.
I've got a few questions wherein the foremost question what the students would want to know or the parents would want to know is that we are exploring the post graduate studies in France. We would like to know from you that because the students who usually come for a postgraduate, they are very career minded, understandably, because it could be probably the highest qualification they would achieve in their lifetime. And certainly they see this qualification as a benchmark or stepping stone into a professional career. So what kind of advantages graduate students who is looking for postgraduate course in France can expect after the completion of course, Dharini?
See, one thing, I am also an alum from France. I studied some donkeys years ago. So I have seen the whole transition of how the French government has invested in India with my experience of working in Indo-French sector prior Skema. So there is a huge transition in terms of, already you told about the bilateral trade agreements that have come. Plus, the French government has now opened the doors. The foreign ministry has now opened the doors by providing 2 years of post-study work search visa. It is one of the best initiative taken by the French government, which I can see. So I see that now any student who comes for a postgraduate program has got a lot of avenues to look for job opportunities in France. Of course, speaking French language is equally important. When we do have companies where they speak in English. For example, Decathlon, which is one of the well-known brands in India. And even if you work in a French office, they speak in English. So there are a few offices which encourage the communication in English, but learning French language is equally important. And of course, with Skema, we have our excellent career and talent team on all the campuses available for the students, who not just focuses on giving placements, but also on giving soft skill trainings to the students throughout the year on how to make a resume in French or how to write a cover letter in French. When we have our recruitment days, where we have around 600 companies which come on panel and recruit Schema students on priority because of its ranking in the market. So throughout the year, our career and talent team takes this initiative of placing our students with not just the companies, but also giving them the right kind of grooming, which is required when they get into the placement opportunities. And like you said, we have so many French companies right now, even based out in India, thanks to Indo-French Chambers taking the initiative of starting an employment service center, which has recruited a lot of students in last 10 years from what I have seen. So there are massive opportunities now for sure. It's just that student needs to find it at the right, they need to be at the right place and at the right time. And I think they'll be there with the best career options that they want.
Absolutely right, Dharini. I can't agree with more with you with these points, and certainly the French department is taking a lot of interest in Indian relationship and also helping the students out to reach out to the potential career. In fact, what you very important point you talked about the French language, and let me also share some interesting information with our students. Friends, when you look out outside India, in a comfort zone, you would also want to go for an English speaking country. But do you know that knowing a foreign language adds an extra points to your profile, which is the most important thing in today's world? And especially when you know this fact that there are more than 30 countries in the world whereby French language is one of the official languages in the list of official languages. So that makes a lot of sense for you to go to study in France and maybe pick up the extra language whilst you are still studying in the English speaking environment. So thank you, Dharani, for this particular piece of information. So let's move to the next question and let's have Nicholas. Nicholas, now we understood the France and we understood the postgrad benefits. Let's move to the next point and understand that as a student, how would I decide that why should I come to Schema? Because there are many options within France as well.
You should come to Skema. You should come to Skema, Aslam. Simply because it's the best school for you. and more, on a more serious note, and I genuinely think you should come to Skema. Let me elaborate why. Simply, well, first of all, it is definitely one of the leading school in this part of the world, and I will kind of elaborate and illustrate it with a few rankings. So obviously Schema has, plenty of different programs, but if we take, for example, the Master in Management program, in the latest Financial Times rankings where Schema participate, this program was ranked number 12 in the world, which is obviously an astonishing ranking. Just this week, in terms of speaking about the BBA program, our BBA was ranked number 2 in France. And the Entrepreneurship and Innovation program, which I'm gladly running, has been ranked by one of the top 10 entrepreneurial programs by Forbes. So we've got plenty of rankings happening all the, throughout the years, and ranking. I think they are important because they do reflect the quality, and you are 100% sure that you are in an institution with very high standard. And I think if you invest, I truly think if you invest a lot of money in your education, you should only do it in one top institution, because If not, it's just wasting money. So you should pick one of the best institutions, be it Skema or another one. Now, why Skema? And this is a really, really important point. Skema is welcoming for international students. And, people might listen to it while you are in your comfort zone, as Aslam was saying, in India, within your family. The reality is when you are 8,000 kilometers away from home, from your parents, from your sisters, from your brother, from your husband, it gets tougher. And I know it because I've lived probably 15 years in my life abroad. And it does matter to find a community when you are outside of home. And I truly think that for this, Skema is the best school in France. We are so international in terms of the number of students, in terms of the number of campuses that we have around the world, 7 campuses around the world, in terms of the number of nationalities in our staff. And there is a big Indian community. So as you said, I think the point is not to stick with Indian community. You have to learn French if you come to France. But still, sometimes when it's a bit hard, it's good to find some backup and some support. And for this, I think students should pick Skema.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing this very vital piece of information, Nicholas. And friends, we understand that there are lots of students, parents who attach a good importance to ranking, and ranking could be a good indicator, if not the indicator, to choose any particular institute in the world. But it's a very good indicator, a good set of parameters for you to judge any institutes and its standing in the market. And what Nicholas rightly said, that there are so many good rankings across the bachelor's programs and the master's program offered by Skema. It gives you definitely a good reason why you should look at this particular institute. And on top of that, friends, do you also know that France is world's 4th largest destination for international students? So when you talk about choosing a country whereby you don't want to go wrong, well, it has been trusted by international students over the many years for their higher education. So it gives you enough reasons to look at France in the European continent. Let's move to the next program and next question and talk about the postgraduate program for which we are focusing today. So, Nicholas, we would like to learn from you that what kind of postgraduate program I, as a student, would have option with if I would like to look at Skema, as you rightly said, and if you would like to mention any particular program in particular.
Okay. So, there's a wide range of postgraduate program at Skema. I think there are 22 Master of Science, 22 specialties within Master of Science. And so definitely any topic that students are interested in terms of obviously business topics, can be found at Skema. But Skema is becoming also a comprehensive institution, which means that we are kind of opening the range of possibilities. And so, for example, I can talk about free entrepreneurship programs because I'm running them, so I know them better than the others, obviously. So there's one which is called the Master in Entrepreneurship and Innovation, which is basically happening in Sophia Antipolis, which is one of the leading technopole in Europe, and is for people willing to start a company, launch a startup, or join a startup, join a scale-up, or work in the ecosystem of startups, kind of advising and consulting entrepreneurs, or working, for example, with banks who are financing entrepreneurs or venture capital like organization, it could be business angels. There's a second one which kind of start to show what I was saying, that we are opening the range of possibilities at Skema and building unique programs. It's called the MSc Entrepreneurship and Sustainable Design, which is actually a joint program with a design school based in France, which is focused on sustainability. And it's the only program in continental Europe which relies on the 3 pillars of entrepreneurship, sustainability, and design. It's unique. And just a third program in entrepreneurship, just to show you the scale of Skema and what you can do. It's the academic diploma program in entrepreneurship, technology, and startup management, which is a program which we have with Berkeley Global. So it's basically 1 year on the campuses of Skema, anywhere in the world. And then the second year is in California with Berkeley Global. So, and that's a very deep focus on deep tech. So as you can see, Aslam, just on entrepreneurship, we've got 3 various different programs, 3 various options for different people, some of different selection criteria. But obviously, I mean, there's plenty of other programs. I mean, our finance program is ranked 3rd in the world in the latest Financial Times. We've got plenty of students who are interested in the luxury programs as well, because France has a reputation, with culture and luxury. So yeah, the sky is the limit.
Wow. So, friends, I'm sure that you must have been very excited now to know about this range of the program which the Schema has to offer at the postgraduate level. And in fact, I learned a lot from you, Nicholas, today. And I was not knowing that we at the Schema have got so many of diverse specialization, even within the world of entrepreneurship. And even the word entrepreneurship is being expanded to this extent. So it looks very interesting, very futuristic to connect entrepreneurship with design or sustainability or with luxury. I believe that this is where the market is going, and this is where the new things are taking place, and the innovation and technology is becoming part of each other. And this kind of looks good that to connect the different programs and different marrying the different specialization with each other. Because the world is changing fast enough. And in fact, just to complement what you already mentioned, I was just doing a research and I found out that the France top position, number 1 position in research and innovation in the world, with over 64 Nobel laureates and 15 fields of medals. And that tells you everything, that why should you, friends, look at Schema and France for the entrepreneurship and innovation program, because they have got already the results which the world can look at as a testimonial. Thank you, Nicholas, for very insightful information. And let's move quickly to the next question. And I would invite both of you, being an alumni, Dharnik, you can add something if you would like, or Nicholas, that now we understood Schema and its programs. Naturally, the next question comes from the student and parents' point of view is that how about the practical exposure while studying on campus? Do we have any opportunity to connect our studies for internship or any life projects? And how does Schema would help me to find the right career after the completion of course?
Okay. So I might start, and then Darini can chip in whenever she wants. So I think there's one thing there's a couple of things which are important, which Darini has mentioned, but which I'm going to re-highlight. The first one is we've got a career department which is helping a lot of the students, as in kind of helping them to redo their curriculum, their CVs, for example, their resume. Helping them they're organizing a lot of events throughout the year. I wouldn't know the exact number of events, but there's constantly something happening every week as an opportunity to touch base with a company. Then there are a couple of other things which are important to mention, and it depends on the willingness of the student. So I've seen in my previous student 3 different profiles. Some of them they want to go back to India right from the start. Actually, they come here to get a top degree in a top school in France, in Europe. As you said, Aslam, their graduate degree or postgrad degree, and then they go back to India. In that case, I think they can leverage the experience of Schema exactly for what you were saying, which is working, for example, with a company which is initially French and which does have a presence in India. And I was checking before the chat. It relates to what you are saying, because most the exports of the FDI between France and India is around tech. So there's a lot of exports around aeronautical products, around nuclear, around very sophisticated kind of engineering things. So that's probably one angle, but it's probably good for the students, as Darini was saying, to learn French when they're here, because it's much easier to learn a language if you're in a country. And I would strongly encourage them actually to learn French even before joining Schema. Now, but the second category is for those of the students who want to stay in France. So there's a lot of stuff. As I said, there's a lot of job openings happening in the startup field at the moment. France is really kind of taking it seriously. For example, last year, the top 100 startups, they raised like close to 6 billions of euro. And they just recruited 30,000 people. So some of them, they might not require French, but still it's if you want to stay here, it's better to at least learn French, even if they are kind of re-expanding in other countries after, well, from a French base. Like, for example, they might open some other countries in Europe. And that's the last scenario. I've got some students who come to France. I'm thinking about an Indian student from 2 years ago. She came and basically she decided to stay in Europe, but not necessarily in France. She used Skema and France as a bridge to find a job as an innovation manager in a telco startup in Germany, actually, because she got the opportunity to come in Europe and then used it as a bridge. So yeah, but the biggest advice is sorry, Aslam. Last thing for me, biggest advice is if you want to stay in France, start learning French now, because that would be a very, very strong asset.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point you made that students, if you heard what Nicholas has to say very clearly, is that there are opportunities not only in France, but back in India. If you would like to come and serve your own country, you have got the startup ideas, or you want to serve to the big companies and organizations to start your career, or you can use France and Skema as a stepping stone to enter into other European countries wherever you have got the career opportunities. Darini, would you like to add something to it?
No, I'll just sum up because I think Nicola spoke, everything. So just to sum up, internships, I think the concept of internship is very underrated in India. So when an Indian student goes to France, they think it's okay to find internship at last minute or something. But no, internships are part of your curriculum. You get 10 credits for it, and there is a report to be submitted. So when they get in internship in a particular company, there is a contrat de stage. Stage is the term used for internship in French. So basically this agreement is signed by the student, the career and talent team, and the company mentor. So it is mandatory to do an internship. At undergrad level, it's a 4 years program, but there is 2 to 4 months of internship at the end of each year. For MIM, if the student is doing the regular 2-year MIM, then again there are 2 internships at the end of each year. If they opt for a gap year, it's necessary to know French language because gap year is only available in France. And of course, then for MSc program, depending on 1 year and 2 year, they can do an internship. Yes, internships are not restricted to be in France, or they can do internships in any part of the world. But yes, signing the internship contract and showing it to the school is mandatory. And then writing a 30-page report on internship is also mandatory. So yes, and like Nicola said, that there are students who come to France for the studies and then they work for any countries in Europe, especially for Germany. I had a classmate who is now working in Italy since a very long time. So that totally depends on, how you have the opportunity, you have all the doors open. It's totally on you to, put in for the best for your career. So, yeah.
Right. So sometimes I feel envy for students that in our time we had lesser opportunity or less known opportunity, I would say, in this time. But today, students have got really, a lot of opportunities to explore the world, and in the quest of doing that, also complete their education. So thank you both of you for adding this valuable answer. And last question before we wrap up the show, just quickly would like to know from any one of you that how's the situation in France at the moment, and how the COVID challenge has put up the students and the school, and can the student come and study now as a full-time offline students, or do they need to study online? So just quick comment from you, please.
No problems. I'm happy to take this one because we've got classes happening every day, pretty much today. So the situation is the following. We do our best to basically deliver online face-to-face classes and to deliver the best of the hybrid as we can do according to the regulation. So being very concrete as we speak, for example, my students, they've got 3 classes in person, face-to-face classes per week, and the rest is online. The reality is Skema has made huge amount of efforts in terms of kind of taking the best of both worlds, obviously complying with the regulation, which is changing all the time, between the online and the offline mode. And what I can tell, based on the satisfaction survey that we had last semester, at least in my Master of Science, there were 100% of students who were satisfied with the program. So it does work. Now, what will be the situation in 6 months? I don't have a crystal ball, but students are happy. They were happy in fall, and yeah, we are striving. We've made huge investment. We've invested more than I think it's 1.5 million euro actually to upgrade all our facilities. Obviously, we've got a brand new campus in Paris, which is top-notch facilities for digital. So yeah,
I must say, when I saw the pictures, it's excellent. It's too modern, and it doesn't look like an institute anyway. I mean, it looks like an IT company from its pictures. I'm very excited to maybe visit, in this year.
It's a flagship, yeah. It's the flagship campus, and it's top notch in terms of digital connection, and so yeah. But still, I think if we can, and students, especially international students, they are happy to see some friends as well, because so when we can have face-to-face classes, we have face-to-face classes. So we've got 3 face-to-face classes per week as we speak.
Okay, great. So thank you very much for adding this valuable information to today's session. And we had some comment. Thank you, Rohan, for watching the show. And indeed, these kind of programs do help the students and parents. And many times, school principals and counselors, they watch our program and they get a lot of good insights as we have directly institute person coming and speaking from that particular country adds a lot of value. We have one question. Do you have any vacancy for airport job outside India? I'm not sure, because this program is very focused onto a postgrad. Maybe you can contact us and our counselors, and we'll be more than happy to help you. So thank you, both of you speakers, for spending your time with us in this show and adding a lot of valuable insight to our audience. And thank you, friends, for those who are joining us live and those who will be watching us later on once the program becomes available on a recorded version, to watch this particular program of Exploring France for Postgraduate Programs. So, friends, if you still have any further query, please do contact us on our helpline number 9987099890, or you can visit our website www.alif.in and just share your comments or questions, and our professional counselor will be more than happy to get back to you quickly. My name is Aslam Sheikh, founder and CEO of Alif, signing off with a promise to come back again next week, Friday, 5 p.m. with another interesting topic and with some amazingly talented speakers enlightening us on a subject that matters to you the most. Until then, stay safe and stay excited.
Thank you, Aslam.